At Apple, its Glowtime event, the tech giant revealed the iPhone 16 series, the Apple Watch Series 10, and the AirPods 4. The Apple Watch Series 10 introduces a sleeker design and brighter display, while the iPhone 16 Pro models feature advanced camera controls and Apple Intelligence. The AirPods 4 offer enhanced audio with the H2 chip and a new ANC open air design. Apple also updated Apple Watch Ultra 2 and AirPods Max with new color options and USB-C charging. That and many, many more stories tonight. You're listening to Geek News Central, episode 1765, coming to you this Monday, September 9th. I'm your host, Todd Cochran. A big shout out to our primary sponsor at GoDaddy.com. Grab their deals at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And to all our awesome listeners, you're the real MVPs. Contribute your time, talent, or treasure at geeknewscentral.com/insider by becoming a GNC Insider. We are live and lit with modern podcast apps from podcastapps.com. Join us live by downloading and using a modern podcast app. Of course, dive into our digital hub at geeknewscentral.com, and don't forget to check out our partner shows, all linked on the website, which includes the new media show, The Gadget Professor with Mr. Don Bay, and the GNC Weekly Review with Kurt and Scott. And of course, get on board and don't forget to follow or subscribe via your favorite modern podcast app. And you can sign up for the newsletter while you're at it and join the chat room at geeknews.chat. And if you have feedback, email me at geeknews@gmail.com or catch me on X at Geek News. Of course, you can find me on Facebook as well. And of course, a massive salute to GoDaddy, the longest continuous sponsor of a podcast. We want to thank them for their ongoing support of the show. And this is where you can lock in savings today and start saving immediately, whether it be a great hosting account. And again, that hosting account starts at $6.99 a month for economy hosting. Includes a free domain name, professional email, and SSL certificate. Of course, you can get a $12.99 a month managed WordPress hosting account. Again, includes a free domain name, $11.99 value, and professional email and SSL certificate for the first year. Or pick up a brand new domain name again for $11.99. You can always get a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. That's a 1-month free trial. Start saving at GoDaddy. We want you to lock in your savings at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. We thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here at the show. Your support really is critical here in allowing us to do what my independent writing team does in doing this show. Again, you're supporting a small group of independent content creators by just using one of our promo codes or sharing with family, friend, or people you know, and you will support us in that effort. And again, thank you for being supportive. Again, subscribe to the podcast and get all the latest tech news. Again, GoDaddy has helped thousands of our listeners save thousands of dollars each month with our non-expiring GoDaddy promo codes. Receive those savings, use those promo codes today, and it's the best value available. Plus, again, you help by sharing with family and friends. Again, thank you for GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here at the Geek News Central podcast. Big thanks to them for their ongoing support. A little bit about what's going on here. Talked about in the last show how I was wrapping up. I had wrapped up phase 2. I kind of lied a little. Not really lied, but I just had to clean up. Get all the extra boxes in the car, get all the trash taken out, really everything that was, and that basically took Friday afternoon completely. And I got this place where it was essentially done. And then Friday, I had a delivery. Now, I had ordered 2 chests. Now, you guys know I'm in an open air loft. There is no cabinet space unless I put it in. There's no drawers for junk. I mean, everything was pretty much up here where I kind of had to make my own way. Dressers when I first moved in, all that stuff. But, you know, toolboxes, in a normal junk drawer that everyone has. I didn't have any of kind of that. So stuff was here and there and here and there. And what I ordered was, are you guys familiar with like Husky toolboxes, the ones that roll around? Well, they were too expensive and too heavy to get up the stairs. So I went online and I'll just say it. I bought some, they came out of Cambodia. They come out of China, came out of Cambodia, probably a Chinese company in Cambodia, but two toolboxes that were about, I think about 24 inches wide, standard depth, waist high, and I was able to bring two. I ordered two of those at a pretty good price, and brought those up and got those set up, transferred. I had screwdrivers, stuff. I mean, everywhere. I know you guys don't care, but it's all part of this consolidation of stuff from two different locations. All this extra stuff. I kept stuff there, stuff here, but everything was here. Forgot about a nail gun that I had that I had completely forgot about. So, and that one was done by air compressor. So I don't need to buy any more nail guns. Long story short, got everything organized, and I'm thinking, do I have room for a third? And I have another purpose for it. So I went online and ordered another one. So that's coming next week. But really, everything else in here is done, and I'm happy as a clam, to be quite frank. And then I spent some time Saturday. I went over and I took the stuff that I had loaded up in the car Friday. Took the stuff Saturday over to the storage unit and got stuff situated so that when I come back from my event in Cleveland, going to this artificial intelligence show, which I leave for tomorrow, that I would go and start the sale of extra stuff. So I get back Friday afternoon. Saturday morning, I will start posting stuff on Facebook Marketplace, set a time for an hour in the late afternoon on Friday, and probably an hour on Saturday and Sunday when people can come pick up stuff that they want, and get myself out of the second storage unit and be able to consolidate everything into one. And while I'm doing that stuff, then the big sort will continue, and I'll figure out what's, again, donate, sell, and keep. So that's what's going to happen here. So, for those of you joining me, what you're seeing on the video today was essentially, and I'm shutting that off so we don't use too much bandwidth. What happened was I lost my commercial space, and I've had to rebuild the studio, which looks a lot like the last studio, and with improvements. And I'm at a point now where I'm just trying now to, get a 10 by 20 emptied out almost completely. But really what's left now is I had one room that was, I'll call it a security storage room. I had extra security in this room. I had all of the stuff like hard drives, just extra stuff of high value that I kept in that room, that basically had a steel door, had a double lock. So if someone broke into the main unit, they'd all have their run there, but the stuff that was extra high value was behind that door. So now all that stuff is still in the storage room, and I need to kind of sort through the stuff that I need and then organize, like hard drives, network attached storage hard drives that are my backups in case I lose a NAS drive and that kind of stuff. So I'll get that all sorted through, then decide what I can sell, what can stay and all that. So I've got a couple of weeks before I start traveling again to kind of go through and get that. I will not get it all done before I head out of here for a while. But I'm absolutely thrilled where I am currently with everything that's going on here in regards to the studio. And I think I'm shared with you guys along this journey of what's happened, and definitely appreciate those of you that have put up with me telling you what's been going on in the adoption and everything else. So Apple today had an event, and after some weeks of anticipation, their Glowtime event finally happened. and revealed some products here. No, nothing of real super. Well, there's a couple of major things that I thought were very interesting, that especially those that are hearing impaired, to those that have wear some type of hearing device. But we heard about the 4 models: iPhone 16, the Apple Watch, Apple Watch Series 10, AirPods. I mean, they were showing some stuff, and I only caught the last 30 minutes of the presentation. But boy, they're talking about, oh, you can make movies and blah 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 with the iPhone. And is anybody really making movies with an iPhone? I can think of much more stable devices to do that, but boy, they just were talking it up big time. So I guess if all you have is iPhone, you can make a movie, but it seems to me like an incredible amount of hard work to edit everything on the phone. I just don't see it. But they sure promoted it. Now, this year's Apple Watch Ultra 2, though, is not being replaced. Instead, it's being slightly updated with a new color, black titanium, and the natural titanium is still available. But the AirPods number 4 has been released with several new features. The earbuds offer better bass, improve high-end highs for audio, personalized spatial audio, and they come with a USB charging case. And they've also introduced another version of AirPods with noise canceling. Features same design as the original. This time the ANC has been used on an open ear design of AirPods, and which is again. But again, the AirPods will offer 30 hours of battery life. The new AirPods 4 will cost $129, where the noise canceling version will cost $179. You can place now, and shipments will arrive on September 20th. I've got 2 pairs of AirPods now. One I keep in the bag as a backup. One I use as primary. But when I still get on an airplane, I use my Bose headset. That is my go-to when I'm on an airplane and want noise canceling. But the top-selling AirPod Pro 2 is going to introduce a hearing aid feature. Now, this includes a new hearing test to personalize users' hearing profile. Now, to say it's going to be a hearing aid, to say that is kind of got a legal thing that goes along with it. But they've got this immediate assist feature, enhances specific speech and instruments frequencies for a better listening experience. And also the AirPod Max, first introduced in 2020, will not receive a design update or improved internals. But the AirPods Max will maintain the original price of $549, which is crazy. And but again, the new AirPod models arrive on September 20th. Of course, the iPhone 16, I'm going to leave you guys to go through all that, all the updates. And but the camera control button is set to debut, which is new. And you've got the ability to switch between lenses, which is kind of curious. And of course, the iPhone 16 features the new A18 chipset. It's going to perform machine learning twice as fast as before. So iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 is going to start at $799 and $899 with the Pro Max, a 6.3-inch version and a 6.9-inch version. We got a new color called Desert Titanium. It's going to be about 20% faster than the A17 Pro. And of course, the Pro models have got a 48 megapixel Fusion camera, 48 megapixel ultra wide, 12 megapixel 5x telephoto camera. And so visual intelligence is what they're using. So we'll see how this all goes. But again, they had some announcements about Apple Intelligence, but they did not announce anything with the Macs or iPads at this event. So maybe there'll be another event before next year to support all that. Moving on here, Elon Musk now controls 2/3 of all active satellites. And amazingly, SpaceX Starlink is now growing by an average of 3 satellites per day. So with him now controlling about 7,000 Starlink satellites, the internet constellation, which is built by SpaceX, of course, is it's huge. I think it's actually the numbers around 6,370, but they've got several hundred more inactive or being deorbited. But there's a great graph that shows this layoff, or shows this situation. There's a total of 10,345 satellites in the air. Now, I didn't realize OneWeb had 631. Planet Labs has 200. So I don't know a lot about OneWeb or Planet Labs, but that's pretty amazing that they have moved this far. Am I on the right screen? That they've moved this far so far. And but anyway, we know that SpaceX plans to launch up to 42,000 satellites to complete the Starlink constellation if they get the approval to do that. And of course, we're running on Starlink today to stay online and keep the show going. But huge number of satellites up there. Well, the next trial is upon us. U.S. versus Google. This is going to be a big one. It's probably going to be all the news around ad tech here over the next month or so. But Google is, again, antitrust situation. And whether or not Google has a monopoly in advertising tech market. And I think this is probably going to not end well for Google. But the trial kicked off today. And a federal court in Alexandria, Virginia. The DOJ argues that Google has unfairly locked up the market for ad tech tools that publishers to advertise, rely on to monetize their websites. Yes. And market their goods. Yes. And Google retorts that it's created efficient products that work well for customers, says it places plenty of competition. Well, I'm going to tell you about this. Let me switch back. My company faces stiff competition from 2 or 3 companies that are spending a lot of SEM money. I mean, they're spending a lot. As near as I can figure, they're probably spending $40,000 a month, each of them, to do SEM against the keywords that my company basically competes on. So when we decided we were going to do SEM, I said, okay, here's the budget. Let's see how this works for us. And we went and talked to Google, and they basically said, we're not even talking to you. We're not going to help you. We're not going to advise you. We're not going to tell you anything unless you spend $36,000 a month. So what happens when I spend $36,000 a month for SEM, and then they go back to my competitors because they got this knowledge? They go back to my competitors and say, well, now your competitor's spending about $40,000 against you. You need to raise your SEM spend by 10, 15, 25%, and it can play us one against the other. Now, this trial comes on the heels of a historic ruling in favor of the government in different antitrust trial against Google before a different judge. Now, we know that the District Columbia District Court judge says Google is legally monopolized on the online search market. So while the EdTech kicks off, the government is simultaneously contemplating what kinds of remedies it will ask for to restore competition in search. So this is another rematch here. And the question really is going to become, will at some point, like AT&T was broken up in the past, will Google get broken up? And what will happen when it does? There's real change potentially coming on these juggernauts that control really everything and makes it very, very hard to do business without, ponying up to the bar and giving the devil his money. So, it's just a total bunch of BS. And then when you go out and you look for alternatives to advertise, whether it be Bing or any other platform that offers any type of advertising, it all ends up going through Google. Oh, we have a layer on top of Google Ads. Well, I don't want a layer on top of Google Ads. I want to be able to advertise to specific websites and specific articles without going through Google, and there's hardly any remedies for that. And hardly any remedies in earning money by having display ads on your website too. It is a monopoly beyond belief, to be quite frank. And be honest with you, they've built great tools, and you're willing to pony up to the bar and write the check every month, you can do okay. Not surprisingly, battery-powered devices are overheating, often on planes, and raising alarm. You think of how many batteries we're traveling with. You got one in your phone, got one in your laptop, got one in your iPad. You've got a battery in your headset, or in my case, a couple of headsets. You probably got a spare battery in your bag to charge that stuff. And then everything else that you basically put in your carry-on, which you're not allowed to put batteries in your luggage, which is a big no-no. It just, you end up with a whole bunch of stuff there that is, for a better word, ready to catch something on fire. So devices powered by lithium-ion batteries are overheating more often during airline flights, and passengers often put them in checked bags, which you've been told not to do. Overheating incidents rose 28% from 2019 to 2023. Although such events remain relatively rare, e-cigarettes overheated more often than any other device. I'm not surprised there. Now, what happens is you have your e-cigarette in your pocket, something leans against it, it turns on, and it runs continuously until something bad happens. That's happened a lot. So make sure if you got an e-cigarette, hit it 5 times before you get on the plane to shut it off, if that's how you shut it off. In 60% of the cases, the overheating was called by thermal runaway, happened near the seat of the passenger, brought the device on board. Of course, laptops have led to evacuations of planes as well. And more than 1/4 of passengers surveyed for the study said they put vaping cigarettes and portable chargers in checked bags. I never do that. In matter of fact, when I used to go to CES, I used to have my carry-on bag used to be so heavy because all my camera batteries, all our light batteries, everything, all the batteries, which were really hard to ship legally via FedEx, I carried onto the airplane in a bag that probably weighed as much as my checked luggage. Just because if one of those went sideways, and I'm not risking a whole airplane of people for a battery that I've carried on board. So the FAA reports 37 thermal runaway incidents on plane this year so far through August 15th. There were 77 reports last year. So considering there's about 180,000 U.S. flights each week, it's really relatively low. But when you're at 40,000 feet and you're over an ocean and you're on a long haul, there's no place to go. So that's why they've developed bags to put these batteries in. How many of you have had a thermal runaway on a battery before? I'd love to hear from you. Now, I'm going to tell you what is a typical sign of something that could go really, really sideways. Keep an eye on your batteries for expansion. If all of a sudden that battery is having a hard time going into a device, camera, or something like that, or it's taking a long time to charge, it's charging super hot, that's the battery that you probably want to replace. I know it's a pain in the butt. I get batteries that go bad all the time, especially on my DJI drones. I have batteries go bad all the time. And matter of fact, I got a stack of them that are completely decharged that I have to find a place to recycle them. Don't throw them in the trash. Those batteries should not be going with you. Those batteries are going to be the ones that are going to cause you a lot of problem and maybe someone else as well. Netflix Geek Week 24, what it is, start date, live events, full lineup of programs. So if you're, guess next week has a big lineup of geek. So I'll have that link up in the show notes. You can check out what's forthcoming to Netflix, and but it's called Geek Ed Week. And what do they have? It's Netflix own mini Comic Con. That's interesting. And it's a free virtual event. It's become a staple of the entertainment industry, I guess. Wow. So where is this happening? Starts on Monday, September 16th. First 3 days will be virtual only, and you have to stay tuned to Netflix YouTube channel and various social media accounts. So I guess it's in person in Atlanta. All right. I was completely clueless what this was, but those of you geeks out there, here's an opportunity if you're in Atlanta to attend a Netflix event. Sony has introduced 2 new high-end 4K projectors to add to its Powerhouse 2024 AV range. You know, I have to kind of giggle. I'm looking at this projector in the image. I've got a projector about that big. Probably a little smaller that's HD only. It has so few hours on it. It's not even funny. It's probably got less than 50 hours on it. We used it for CES 1 year. It's old, but man, it cost a lot of money when I bought it. And I've been always looking for a use for it. If any of you are interested, if you've got a use for an HD with a super bright lens and low hours, you can still get bulbs for it, to let me know. I'll ship it to you, and even the price is right, I'll ship it to you in a nice carrying case, which is probably worth at least $150, the carrying case itself. So, but I know there's a lot of projectors out there. I've got a meeting down in our team meeting is going to happen in Palm Beach first week of October, and I'm going to be taking one of my mini 4K projectors that I got a couple of years ago. And it's a tiny itty bitty little thing, but it's better than paying the hotel $250 or whatever they want to charge us for a projector. But anyway, if you are looking for high-end 4K projectors, Sony has a deal for you. There's a very, very cool video. You can watch a 10,000-mile high tower of plasma erupting from the sun in a stunning video. A little bit of an image for you there for those of you that are want to see what it looks like. There's about 540 frames of 25 seconds apart, and there's a time lapse that represents as an hour of real-time activity on the sun. And so I guess this was a major event, and people are pretty excited to see this video. It's gotten a lot of views. Link will be up in the show notes for you to check that out. Ladies, listen up. I got something very, very, very cool for you. It's called the Viral GPU Purse. It costs $1,024, but you can make your own for just about $40. Now, over the weekend, a website called GPU Purse went live with a listing of a discarded NVIDIA GT 730 GPU, a $20 used GPU that had been turned into a handbag. Now, if you want the handbag, you're going to have to shell $1,024 for something that they basically glued into a bag. And again, I think they've got an Etsy page, and all you got to do is find a case. And I'm sure this will not be hard to be able to find. And probably for those of you that arts and crafts, probably not too hard to mock up. But yeah, there's the Twitter picture of it. And but anyway, she posted this gal, a very, very cool tech head, Teresa Barton, a New York Times alum and current pre-training engineer at Databricks, set up a Shopify store in haste after this post because she made her own. And you got to love it when geeky folks do all kinds of cool stuff. But yeah, all kinds of uses for all kinds of old electronics. I got piles of this stuff. So as I am sorting stuff, as I'm getting ready to, anything that is going to go to the DUMP, that's not going to be sold, or donated, I'm definitely going to let my mom and my sister come through and sort through this stuff, because they can make all kinds of crazy stuff, and they may find a little bit of a thing to do here. I was out in our other barn over the weekend, and my mom was working on something, and she's asking for my opinion. She's decorating a cabinet, and gave her my non-expert opinion. And so this is kind of the stuff. So after they've seen this article, I'm going to like, hey, I've got essentially, all of us geeks have boxes of old stuff. Matter of fact, I've probably thrown away more, inserts for computers over the years than anybody else. But I still have a lot of cool stuff that probably could be make into some sort of art project. 300,000 have been impacted by a data breach. A car rental firm, Avis, is notifying individuals that personal information was stolen in August during a data breach. So they're the next one to have a hack, and happened between August 3rd and 6th. So did you get an email from Avis? If you did, I'd love to hear from you. geeknews@gmail.com. Meanwhile, Cisco's merch store was targeted by dangerous malware. Russian hackers linked to a Cisco attack. So when you purchase their links on your site, you could earn an affiliate commission. Well, apparently there's a problem here. A report by the Russia claims suspected Russian-based attackers injected data-stealing JavaScript into the company's merch store, thanks to a flaw in Adobe's Magento platform, not Magneto. Every time I see that, I want to say Magneto. Magento. Despite the potential severity of the issue, Cisco has confirmed no credentials were compromised during the attack. So anyway, they've got a CVE out on that. If you're interested, it's within the show notes. PayPal, meanwhile, has teamed up with Shopify in part of one of their latest partnership deals. So if you have a Shopify account, so PayPal has added Shopify to its list of recent partnerships. What does that really mean? As part of the agreement, a PayPal wallet will also integrate with Shopify payments, according to a statement. The two companies also teamed up 2 years ago to introduce Shopify payments in France. Collaboration is a key to unlocking better industry outcomes. PayPal is up against companies including Adyen, Stripe, etc., for payment processing on these websites. So this is not a surprise that this deal has happened. If you're a Mozilla Firefox user, Mozilla has extended support for Firefox on older Windows versions, and boy, they have really went back. And they're going to do it for 6 more months. Now, I haven't been using Firefox a lot recently, but they've decided to extend support for Firefox on older browsers, older computers. They're going to support Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 8.1 through April of 2025. So if you have a Windows 7, 8, or 8.1, you have until April 1 before, and I don't know what that means. I guess none of you'll be stuck, is what you will. You'll be stuck at a certain version of Firefox, maybe 129 or 130. So just be aware of that will be forthcoming. Over in Slashdot, Audible. Now listen to this. Audible's going to start generating AI voice replicas of select audiobook narrators. So they're going to begin inviting a select group of U.S.-based audiobook narrators to train their voices on AI. The close of which can be then used to make an audiobook. This effort is going to kick off next week, designed to add more audiobooks to service quickly and cheaply, and to welcome traditional narrators into the evolving world of audiobook automation. Now, how many of you here listen to audiobooks? I'm kind of curious. I really am. How many of you listen to audiobooks? I don't. It must be a lot of you do. I like reading. I like to be able to fast forward in a book. Maybe sometimes a book gets a little slow. You have to skip a page or two. I know you've all done that, right? Then maybe sometimes you got to go back and reread it. I don't know. Audiobooks to me, I guess you can speed it up and listen quicker. I don't know. We'll see. There's a warning that your AI bills can blow out by 1,000%. And I thought, huh? AI bills? If you're adopting AI, you need to learn how to manage the cost and look at your usage. A firm offered an opinion today where it kicked off its first flagship symposium event of the year with a keynote from analyst. And they said it's really easy to waste money on generative AI before asking attendees if they could remember their first cloud computing bill. I know what my first cloud computing bill is. As a matter of fact, I know what my current cloud computing bill is. It's off the chart. And we know what our costs to use AI and doing API calls. I think anyone that's running a company is going to be looking at all that cost. I know we do. How about you? I'd love to hear your feedback. Are you adopting API at your company, and what has been the cost impact up to this point? This next article is very, very, very interesting, and it's a little bit behind baseball. M16 and the CIA are using generative AI to combat tech-driven threat actors. Now, we kind of knew this was coming. CIA Director Bill Burns and UK Secret Intelligence Services SIS Chief Richard Moore have for the first time penned a joint opinion piece in which the two spook masters reveal their agencies adopted generative AI. We're now using AI, including generative AI, to enable and improve intelligence activities from summarization to ideation, in other words, get ideas, to help identify key information in a sea of data. We are training AI. We are training AI to help protect and red team our own operations, ensuring we can still stay secret when we need to. We're using cloud technology so our brilliant data scientists can make the most of our data. I understand that. And we're partnering with the most innovative companies around the world. So this is interesting. Together, the intelligence bosses pointed out they serve at a time when technology presents a unique challenge that means the international order is under threat in a way we haven't seen since the Cold War. Of course, the Ukraine war has highlighted how technology, when deployed alongside traditional weaponry, can alter the course of war. And the pair pronounced that the conflict has seen satellite imagery, drone tech, high and low sophistication cyberware, social media, open source software, and intelligence, uncrewed aerial and seaborne vehicles, and information combined in incredible pace and scale using AI. So we know that China represents a principal investigation geopolitical challenge that's out there. And the CIA has tripled its budget over the past 3 years to address technology theft and similar security issues from China. And now the China challenge, listen to this, accounts for 20% of the agency's overall budget. The CIA is devoting 20% of their budget to China. It's enough to make you go, Now, the U.S. government lost a big one here recently when it comes to firearms. Those of you that are following the firearms legal aspect know what I'm referring to. I'm not going to go into details, except I just say FRT. And for those of you who don't know what that means, that's full reset trigger. The U.S. Department of Justice are turning to 3D printing industry to help stop the proliferation of tiny pieces of plastic, aka tiny pieces of plastic, transforming weapons into illegal homemade machine guns. Law enforcement cannot do this alone, said U.S. Deputy Attorney Lisa Monaco said Friday during a gathering in Washington of federal law enforcement members of 3D printing industry and academia. We encourage software developers, technics, and leaders in 3D industry to identify solutions in this fight. Now, let me just say this. You can ask the 3D industry to ban. How do you ban a design? How do you get something in place that is a part They can be drawn on AutoCAD. It can be scanned with laser. It can be lots of things that can be done to develop the dimensions and size and shape of anything today. How do you stop that from going into a 3D printer? Many of them coming out of China. Many. How do you stop that from printing that piece that will turn something that is a semi-automatic weapon into a machine gun? How do you prevent that? Most people, if you listen to the rapid fire of a rifle, it's a semi-automatic, it'll shoot as fast as you can pull the trigger. And to some people say that sounds like a machine gun, when it really, in a machine gun, the rapid fire goes up exponentially. But what's very interesting about that is that exponential increase in firing rate does not result in greater accuracy, and he empties clips very, very quickly. So the simple fact that most military people, when they're being trained, the only time they ever go to automatic is in like a really, really bad situation. Most of the times they're doing 3-round bursts, just like that, and versus, because they empty the clips quickly. So I don't know how you can ask the 3D printing industry to help with this. I really don't. And I know opinions vary on this, and I'm not here to go over the pros and cons. That's not the purpose of this. And obviously I live in the country. I believe in the Second Amendment. And I also am I'm take firearm safety very, very seriously, as most people do. Been through firearms training, go to the range on a regular basis to maintain efficiency. So, I'll leave it at that. And some people don't agree. That's fine. If you don't want to be involved, that's cool. That's your choice. Okay. Hey, I want to talk here just a second about our insiders, our supporters, those folks that are contributing to the show. And just be honest with you. I hope the show is worth at least $1 to you. Is it worth $1? How about $2? If the show's worth $2 a month to you, really, it's simple. Go over to geeknewscentral.com/insider, geeknewscentral.com/insider, and sign up for the $2 a month donation. Real simple to do, real easy to get on, or do a one-time donation for $24 via PayPal. Very, very simple for $2. Give me $12 a month, or $12 a year. If everyone gave $12 a year to the show, that would be incredible. We could do incredible things. If every listener of the show and every viewer gave $12 a year, just $12 a year. We know that only maybe 3 or 4% of you will ever donate to the show. I understand that. We're well below that average. We're not even anywhere approaching 1% of you that support the show with a monthly contribution, which, I understand. Money's tight. But I want to thank Nigel Cottrell for his $25, basically Super Ohana Warrior Chief contribution. Same thing with Dale Taylor for his $25 contribution as well. Absolutely fantastic. Both of you gentlemen. Of course, I want to thank Andrew Palmer for his $5 sustaining donation. I don't know if we've had anyone come in and do a boost. I don't think so, but we did have streaming sats happening from Darren and who else? Let's see here. We had, of course, had a new media show last week. So, Darren has been streaming 100 sats a minute. So thank you so much for that, Darren, for your ongoing support. I can't go back very far. It's greatly appreciated for your contribution to the show. Every every sat and every cash donation really makes a big difference. How do I tell how that money's coming in? It's via a boost. So we got people from the new media show that's boosting on a regular basis, and we definitely appreciate it when they do. But again, geeknewscentral.com/insider. Support the show by becoming an insider today. Ford is patenting a holographic car tech system that lets virtual guard dogs protect your vehicle, which is very, very curious. Now, patents don't always result in newfangled tech, but they often give us a good indication. Recent filings have revealed that the company is experimenting with some pretty advanced holographic tech that, if it ever gets produced, will be able to protect a plethora of realistic images inside and outside, project a plethora of realistic imageries inside and outside the car. All the patent filing goes into little details about the use case. It does reveal the general idea to create a system and method for projecting movable and interactive holograms inside and outside a vehicle. Basic drawings of the company today show security guards roaming around a parked Ford, while another images shows a young boy pointing at what he understands to be virtual guard dogs. The system uses incorporated holographic cameras that can be displayed pre-recorded 2D animations outside the car without any noticeable distortion. So I don't know if that's going to prevent someone from coming up and stealing your vehicle, but it's definitely a very, very interesting idea, to say the least. If you're a Trekkie fan, this coming week, Paramount is beaming up a free Star Trek episode for a limited time. You now can trek across the universe for free. How exactly does that happen? Well, Star Trek Day is celebrated annually yesterday. So if you didn't know that, you missed it. But even though you're a day late, there's still plenty of time to celebrate thanks to Paramount Plus. The sci-fi hit series action, one of the reasons that the folks have give Paramount Plus a big thumbs up compared to other streaming services. So if you want to celebrate Star Trek Day, you can look at these episodes for free. They're on until the 13th. So the complete lineup of free episode is as follows. And I'm not going to say, again, Star Trek, the original series, The Next Generation Encounters in Farpoint, 1 and 2, Voyager Caretaker, 1 and 2, Deep Space Nine, Part 1 and 2, Enterprise Broken Bow, 1 and 2, the animated series Beyond the Farthest Star, Strange New Worlds, Lower Deck, Second Contact, Discovery of the Vulcan Hello, Trek Picard, Remembrance, and Short Treks, The Girl Who Made the Stars, The Trouble with Edward Astronaut, and Runaway, and Ephraim and Dot. I probably pronounced a couple of those things wrong. So, Trekkie fans, Paramount Plus through the 13th. Get her while you can. Also up today, a little bit more information here. WeTransfer is set to lay off hundreds of staff after Bending Spoon acquisition. They're going to cut 75% of the WeTransfer workforce. That's just some of the things that happen during an acquisition. Meanwhile, CrowdStrike hopes legal threats will fade as the time passes, since it broke the world. Yes, broke the world. And hope that doesn't happen anytime soon. Of course, CrowdStrike has yet to face a lawsuit over July's global IT meltdown. And the CFO was speaking during a City Technology conference in which he tackled the outage and its impact on the company. The global IT melt was caused by a configuration update, of course, and he was, this guy put on a brave face on things. He said in the short term, people were upset. However, according to the CFO, customers came around and appreciated CrowdStrike's attempts to explain the disruption and get them back up and running. He acknowledged that there's been an impact on the company's financials, unavoidable considering CrowdStrike recently published its quarter 2 earnings, in which annual recurring revenue increased, but the full year forecast was cut. He also noted customers' commitment package designed to appease those most affected, but did not mention the infamous $10 Uber Eats gift codes issued to partners and teammates as the chaos unfolded. Yes, $10 Uber Eats. Have you bought anything on Uber Eats recently? That probably cover about a third of the bill for one person. Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin waves bye-bye to October 13th escapade. NASA's decided that the two Escape and Plasma Acceleration Dynamics Explorers planned to be launched on the maiden flight of Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket will not be fueled and will instead take a ride to Mars next year's maybe. While the news was almost buried, another commercial whoopsie, the uncrewed return of the Boeing Starliner happened, I guess. Of course, we don't know. I'd like to know. They got it back okay. I watched it actually land. I stayed up late enough to watch it land. What was the internal, how was the crew compartment? Was it full of helium? Was it safe atmosphere? What was the atmosphere inside the Starliner when it came back? But anyway, the main problem, according to NASA, is the challenge of defueling the spacecraft in the event of a launch delay. The launch window was already very tight. No earlier than October 13th had been set, and everything would have needed to go right at Blue Origin in order for New Glenn to have sent Escapade to Mars as originally planned. NASA blinked and has called off the launch. So this is an important mission for NASA. It's critical to have sufficient margin in our pre-launch work to ensure we are ready to fly a tight planetary window. So they're going to launch something else. So again, Blue Origin and other companies continue to fail the government at lots of high levels. Again, can't wait till we hear everything about the Starliner and would it have been safe for the astronauts to return in that capsule. They were a little bit giddy on the live stream. I'll be honest. They were the safe return. It was like all these little keywords they kept using, and I thought they were doing a little dig, a little pointing the finger. It felt like at NASA on its return. So again, no word on how the interior, where the crew members would have been, how that how that came back. Was it safe? Did it have enough oxygen? The whole 9 yards. This is a weird one. This is a weird story. Scientists find a common food dye can make a live mouse skin transparent. Scientists find a common food dye can make a live mouse's skin transparent. Now, the dye, tartazine E102, which is used in an actual food product many of us eat, is a mostly harmless dye used to make food yellow. In a published paper published in the journal Science last week, scientists describe how the dye basically, which is a molecule that absorbs mostly light, especially blue and ultraviolet with skin, which is a scattering medium. Envision these two things block most light from getting through. But when we put them together, basically they put those two dyes together, they would achieve transparency of the mouse skin. For those that understand fundamental physics behind this, it makes sense, but if you aren't familiar, it looks like a magic trick. Now, they didn't show us a real mouse, I don't think, and I didn't watch the video. But it's weird. It's just a little bit weird, to be quite frank. So, yesterday, I had 75 gigabits hit my Starlink download. So, and what it was updates coming to computers. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 Macs running here. They're not all on all at all times, but they all remind me we've got an update to do. And I'm unlimited bandwidth here. And I'm like, what can I do? I don't want every computer to download a 5 gigabit file. It just costs me unneeded bandwidth on my connection. So I did a Google. Can I download a Mac OS X update once and install on multiple computers? Well, yes, you can. The primary way is, and there's one computer that stays on 90% of the time. It's my work computer. It's my iMac. You go to System Preferences, go to Sharing, go to Content Caching. So you turn content caching on, and then you go to each additional Mac, update is normal. And basically, it will update from that download. So there's other ways to do this with a USB flash installer by turning off auto updates. I'm not going to go that far. And you can go to Apple's website and download a standalone updater as well, and then copy that each to a Mac. That's possible. But what I'm gonna do on all these machines, I'm gonna turn auto update off, and then I'm gonna allow the machine that I have content caching turned on. And content caching is more than downloads. It's stuff that's on, basically, and you have to have enough hard drive space because it's cloud and everything. Then I will turn one machine on and I'll try to do an update, and I will I can't disconnect it from the internet, but I'll look and see how fast the download update happens, and hopefully it reaches over to that iMac and grabs that update. So it'll save me some bandwidth. The same thing with if a MacBook needs to be updated. I like that idea a lot, and to be able to do that. So just a little bit of a tip, if any of you are bandwidth challenged like I am at this point. 978 gigabits I used on Starlink last month. Now I've got a travel week ahead of me, 3 days. That'll help keep the bandwidth down. But until the fall comes, until some of these leaves go away, my point-to-point connection has been a little bit sketchy. And I would really prefer to update on that network. But when if you've got the machine set up to be on one network, it doesn't make sense to be flipping them back and forth, and you don't know when an update's going to drop anyway. So anyway, just a kind of a curious thing that I found here. All right, so as usual, very, 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 very simple to participate in providing feedback to the show. geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, @geeknews on X. Of course, you can find me on Facebook. Those of you who've been live today, I know we've got some folks watching across the ecospace, including Facebook, and not so many on YouTube today. But make sure you say hello in the comment section before you go. We appreciate that you've been here. And if you've watched on Twitter or any of the other place, we're on. Yes, I'm even streaming to Rumble. For those of you on Rumble, Geek News Central has a channel over there that you can subscribe to. So definitely check that out. But it's been my pleasure being in the podcast today. And no show on Thursday. I'm going to be going to Cleveland to the Artificial Intelligence Conference put on by Macon. And I'm really, really excited about it. I was looking at the schedule a little bit today, picking a few sessions. I got another team member going. Her and I are going to compare notes, and we're going to make sure we're not doubled up, except for those ones we really both want to listen in on. And so that she gets information, I get information, and we can share notes at the end. Probably going to record some of the sessions I'm in, some of the ones that are especially going over tools and stuff like that, the top 100 tools list. So there's lots of great stuff, and I'll have a lot to talk about that show when I come back. I'm sure I am going to be regenerated on AI, but that's going to wrap it up for today. Let's see how we did on time. Hey, just about an hour, so not bad. I hope you've been enjoying the shows. Again, consider becoming an insider. Don't forget about our sponsor, GoDaddy, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Share those codes with family, friends, people as you know. Don't write it on the bathroom wall. We definitely appreciate your ongoing support of the show. I'll see you back here a week from today for another edition of the Geek News Central podcast. It's been my pleasure being in the show. We'll see you next time, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.